All right, it's October 15th, second time being on YouTube. So for those of you that listen to my podcast, I have a podcast that I created when I quit my job, and I talk about the same thing now. I pretty much did those podcasts so that I can build myself up to doing videos. You know what I mean? I wanted to get out of my comfort zone, and that's why I'm here now. But I will upload this into my podcast. That way I'm saving time, right? That way I get to do these, and then I just upload them. It's a one-time transaction. I don't have to do two things at once. And it's the same benefit of people that want to see me on videos. I get to improve my skills on video, and then I get to pass the message along. Okay, so yesterday I talked about desire, okay? And we got into this book, Think and Grow Rich. I actually thought about it as I went to sleep. What do I want to do with these things is I want to actually go individually by chapter and discuss from a spiritual lens of each chapter, right? That way you learn, think of it like a mini course, right? That way you're learning on how to apply this spiritually, because I know a lot of people are just pure spiritually inclined. When I did some spiritual counseling service, a lot of people were just not logical at all and completely spiritual. And we'll get into that line of thinking in a bit, but let's get into this book and let's get into the desire section of it, okay? So the book does a great job, right? It talks about C.V. Barnes, and when he actually goes and he wants to be an apprentice for Thomas Edison. That's how it kind of starts off, right? So there's this individual that wants to work for Thomas Edison, not work for Thomas Edison, sorry. He wanted to be a partner of Thomas Edison, okay? So, he had a definite chief aim and he had no money. He actually traveled so far to see Mr. Edison, and then Mr. Edison said, yeah, you can start by like cleaning the floors or whatever it is, right? And then he eventually worked his way up to be a sales partner for Thomas Edison, right? So he had a desire, okay? So his desire was to actually work with Thomas Edison. And it's pretty funny, right? So let's go back to the spiritual effects of this. So remember I said that everything in life begins with a desire, right? We came from one source, the one consciousness, one creator, and we've expanded from him, or it, or whatever it is. We've expanded away from him, and we started drifting away, and that came with desire. It was getting bored of itself completely. It's just like, I'm just sitting here in this whole mass of whatever it is. Now I need to do something. I need to expand, and the way that it expanded was through interpretations of each individual soul, right? And as a result, you're here on this planet experiencing this journey, okay? That came with a desire. You said, hey, I want to actually go and experience dense earth. I've never experienced it in my life. It sounds like a challenge that I need to partake in to expand, right? There's a saying that, the human experience, the earth experiences, your soul has to be extremely strong to experience this, because it is one of the most difficult things ever. Nothing is given to us. We have to go out and get it. It works in frequencies, the Hertzian frequency, which is the most dense place in the universe. And we're here observing this, and your soul chose to be here to do what? To expand yourself, right? Generally, your main purpose in life is generally around the obstacles that you're having, right? My obstacles in life was around abundance and making sure that my family is taken care of, making sure that I expand myself spiritually, mentally, everything. I wanted to expand myself, and part of that was learning about abundance, because I was always put into like things in my life where I did things I hated. Okay, so a bit of background for me. I've talked about my podcast, but you guys on YouTube haven't heard this yet. But I chose I went into engineering first. Nothing that I wanted to. I got decent marks in school, so I was able to get into engineering at one of the best schools in Toronto and in Canada, which is the University of Toronto, right? So I got into civil engineering. That's the only one that I can get into because my marks weren't high enough, so I chose that. I had no interest in it. I just thought, my parents taught me, do something, become a doctor, become an engineer, whatever it is, do something, that's basically that you're not interested. Like, they never really told me to go down the path of what I was interested in. They pushed me, into math, science, because that's all they knew. That's all they knew in Sri Lanka. It's just like people that do these things, they generally do well in life, so that's what you have to do. They thought that I could emulate someone else, and that wasn't me, right? But so I went down that path, and I hated it. I, flunked out of engineering, and then I went to accounting and finance, which is boring as hell, and I didn't want to do that anymore. I spent like 10 years of my life being in that field. I was like, man, what am I doing, right? Essentially, I quit 6 months ago. I was just like, man, I don't want to do this anymore with my life. I just had like this knowing that everything was going to be okay, right? I was living in complete limiting belief, limited fear, and I just said, forget it, I don't want to do this anymore, right? And here I am, right? So I'm managing my rental properties, and I do other stuff. I trade currencies online, and I do these videos because I like communicating. I like speaking to people. I like meeting like-minded people. So this is like another avenue of using my strengths and using my gifts to share with the world, and whoever gets benefits from it gets benefits, right? So that's a bit of story, but like I said, it wouldn't have came with desire, right? I had a desire to do well in my life. I had a desire to actually go out and get things that I wanted to get. So one of the things was leaving corporate. Like, without that initial desire, I wouldn't have developed my skills. You should have seen me. Like, if you guys saw me, like, even like 3-4 years ago, 5 years ago, like, I was very shy. Like, I projected confidence, but internally, I had a lot of self-esteem issues. I had a lot of issues with just adapting to society. I had a lot of issues. I had anxiety. Going into work, I had anxiety. Every day I went into Monday mornings, I was like, man, what's gonna happen today? It's not within my control. And that was a form of anxiety, okay? When I got into the elevator with people, like, I didn't fit in. Like, I hated wearing like dressy clothing. I hated wearing like dress pants and a dress shirt. Like, I was like, man, like, this is not a uniform, but it's like a suit. It's like a monkey suit. It's just like, this is not me. I can't be authentic being like this, right? It took me a lot of time. It took me a while, right? But once I learned transcendental meditation, right, the meditation that took everything off for me, I just went, like, everything started opening up for me. My mind started opening up to a different way of thinking. And part of that was releasing my beliefs, my limiting beliefs. And a lot of it was fear-based. So fear-based belief systems can keep you in line, because everything in reality happens because of your belief system. The way that you see the world is based off of your belief system. And if you're seeing world from a lack point of view, and if you're seeing the world from a limiting belief standpoint, like fear, etc., that's exactly how the world's going to show up for you. Okay? So once I realized this, I'm like, dude, let me put this to the test, right? One of the things in spirituality, they say that if you follow your bliss, the wings at your back. Okay? So it is the way, it is the carrot that dangles you to your next step, to your next step, to your next step. And once again, it comes with desire. Okay? So I think Napoleon Hill did a good job just pointing that out, because, what happens to people is they have desires, whatever desire it is, right? Whether, let's say, for example, this person had a desire to start a new job or new career or even a new business. Okay? What happens to the average person is this. They look at desire and they're like, okay, I desire that, but I don't have this. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough knowledge. I don't have enough ideas, whatever it is, right? There are desires on one thing, and on the other end is the limiting belief that comes up immediately. And as soon as that limiting belief comes up, their desire gets squashed. But they're putting that desire inside of them, and it's still burning. But at the same time, their belief systems are holding them back, right? So the ego is very strong. The ego you chose, your ego is your ego. You're given that at birth, right? To overcome limitations, overcome obstacles, and see that from that perspective. But when you expand, your soul expands. Each time you overcome a limiting belief, your soul starts expanding. Okay? So where am I headed with this, right? So once you have a desire, your logical mind is initially going to start setting off an idea that you can't obtain it because of this. you can't obtain it because you've tried it in the past, right? Or whatever it is, you failed. Failure is part of the process, by the way. For those of you who think that you're not going to fail and you're going to just focus on law of attraction to get you ahead, that's not why you chose to be on earth. Failure is part of the process. Life is about the journey and the struggles at the same time. It's not just about the positives. You're going to go through so much shit in your life, right? It's to maintain that neutral ground and see everything from a perspective of positivity and keep going, right? The universe is only going to provide for those who are worthy of it, right? It's not going to provide to those that just sit there and want things to happen to them. When has that ever happened, right? So that's where I think like a lot of law of attraction teachers of manifesting get it wrong. And it's maybe they're getting it right. I'm not understanding them because they're not showing it in a different perspective. It really teaches like more like woo-woo thinking, right? I believe that everything is vibrations. Don't get me wrong. You're supposed to have good vibrations to attract good things to you. 100%, that's a law. But I don't believe in sitting there and not doing anything, right? This is, it's if you don't take action towards inclinations, your intuition, all these things, why would your higher mind speak to you on a continuous basis? It's not going to, because you're not taking what you're learning and you're not applying it. It's like a circuit. Everything's like an electric circuit, right? It's energy, right? So you have an idea, it comes to you and it sits right here. And then if you don't take action towards that idea, it's just going to go away. It's going to go into the ether until someone else grabs the idea, right? So that's where law of attraction teachers get it wrong. It's just like, it is about hard work. It's about hard work with a subtle nuance. It's about hard work for things that you want to achieve because you enjoy doing it. Forget the hard work that school teaches you. That's nonsense, right? Hard work, writing a whole bunch of tests every day, doing projects that you don't want to do, studying subjects that you don't want to do. That's the school system. It's completely misaligned. That form of hard work is bullshit. Okay? The hard work that I'm talking about is you getting up, you being motivated to be in front of your computer or going to track to practice whatever you're headed towards, or playing an instrument, whatever it is, right? So it's you having the inner motivation to do something that you enjoy doing and you don't consider it work. And what happens is that people will reward you for that because you know why? You develop the skills and you know that it's valuable because you have a desire to improve yourself. And once you give that skill set back to the world, people will pay you for it, no matter what. It's a form of abundance. Once you let go of all these limiting beliefs within here, abundance starts showing up, and abundance comes from the heart, right? It doesn't come from anywhere else. You can get abundance by just using logic and all that stuff and trying to rip people off and all that stuff, but it's not going to be self-sustainable. One, you'll hate yourself, and two, it's not self-sustainable. It'll be taken away from you, right? But once you start seeing things from your heart, start experiencing love, start experiencing joy, putting that out into the grid, more of that is what you'll get back. What you put out is what you get back. Okay? So it all starts with desire, right? Back again, I'm like hitting this over and over again, but you need to hear it, right? Desire is the formula to a successful life. Everything starts with desire. Okay? And don't let the limiting beliefs hold you back. Limiting beliefs are going to show up over and over again. It's your job to be aware of what those limiting beliefs are. There's going to be subconscious limiting beliefs that you're not aware of, which is really hard to overcome, mind you. But you can do that. There's different modalities. Like, let's say you recognize that you're not getting enough money in your life, right? Via repetition, because that's how the mind works, right? Via repetition, if you were to repeat certain mantras to yourself, you're able to start believing that. Because your subconscious mind believes anything that it believes to be true. It's just going to accept it, right? Through repetition, through the environment, whatever it is, it's just going to accept that belief system, okay? And when you see things and you interpret it differently, your subconscious mind will believe that too. What am I trying to say with that, right? Let's say you go, you go to the park and you see things in a bad light and you see people doing harm or whatever it is, right? If you continuously see that over and over again, that's what you're seeing, right? That's your belief system accepting that the world is not a good place, right? But I never see that. I rarely see that. When I go to the park, I always see things good in a good way, right? The reason for that is I believe in subjective reality. There is no objective reality. Once again, it's consciousness, right? Consciousness is expanding at all times through your interpretation of it. Consciousness sits there and it has a 360 view of every single thing that goes on, because everyone interprets it differently, the reality differently, right? So I believe in subjective reality, because there's no way that each person on this planet could look at one thing and think that that is the truth. There is no truth. Truth is based off of your belief systems and what you perceive to be true, right? That makes sense. Okay? So desire is something that you need in your life. Okay? Desire gives you excitement, a higher frequency. Desire gives you a sense of direction in your life, right? Some people always speak to me, oh, I don't know what my definite chief aim is, because that's the part of desire that Napoleon Hill talks about. I don't know what that is. My response to that is, of course you do. Every single person on this planet has a desire. The reason they're not living it up or whatever it is their limiting belief saying that they don't. You have a desire to eat, don't you? You have a desire to actually watch this video. You had a desire to come here, right? So that is a form of desire. The reason you're not seeing life in a very, very magical way is because you've been programmed to that environment or to that energy grid for some time. And you have to slowly chip out that energy grid until you see different levels of it. You know, levels of energy need to be penetrated, right? And slowly, surely, your aura around you changes based on if you have contemplation and you have awareness to where you are. Okay? So if you've been in a slump, right? It's slowly, you have to get out of that slowly, right? I know that I can't be in a slump for too long, because I believe in law of attraction once again, and it keeps on attracting me to that current same state of being over and over again. And I don't want that. So I try to let go of all that stuff. Right? As soon as I receive it, I'm like, okay, I got to see this from a neutral point so that I can see the positive aspects of whatever happened. Okay? Every negative thing that happened to me in my life, there's a reason for it. Okay? When I was in corporate, I got picked on by a couple managers there just because it wasn't something that I liked doing, and I had low self-esteem issue at that time because, once again, I was doing something I hated. I thought I was dumb. Okay, so when I thought I was dumb, I let other people take advantage of me, including managers that like just try to like push stuff on me, make me work extra hours, etc. Like I just hated that whole thing, right? But there was a reason I needed to experience that. Do you see that? If I didn't experience that, if I wasn't going through hell, I wouldn't have had the desire to actually figure out my real estate portfolio and get the hell out of there, right? It was a different way for my soul to expand, and I needed to experience that. So look at everything from a positive light, right? And then push yourself through desire to get you out to the next thing, okay? So yeah, so definite chief aim, that's a part of desire. That's easy, okay? What you could do with this after you listen to this is get out a piece of paper, write down what you really, really desire in life. Okay, at the end of your deathbed, at the end of your life, what is the ultimate desire that you want to achieve? What is it? In terms of your health, wealth, family, all these things. Paint a picture on your deathbed. Be like, I did all these things and I'm happy about it. Okay? And if you can, if that's too much for you, think about what you desire in the next 3 months or 4 months. Okay? If that's too much for you, think about what you desire today and start working on it. Whatever you write down, whatever your desire is through that, start putting little things into action today. Start doing it today. Don't think about all the resources that you're lacking. Think about what resources you have, what you can do. You can pick up a book about that subject, right? If you don't have any money, you don't need the money. Just start doing something else. I assure you, the way that law of attraction works is that whatever you take action on is looking for you at the same time. It's going to give you the resources. It's walking towards you, okay? It's kind of like, once you have a desire, think about the postman all the way from across the universe. He's mailing that envelope to you, that desire towards you, and you're working towards just picking it up in the post office. That's how it works. That's how reality works. If you have a desire, what that means is that you ultimately can fulfill that desire. Okay? So hopefully that helps. So tomorrow, the next day, next time I'm on here, I'll do the next chapter. But that's what you should get from it. Desire and definite chief aim. Have a plan. just a basic plan. You don't need to make it so like strict and so serious, because it's going to change anyways. But it's the fact that you're thinking about it, you're contemplating on that plan, you're putting energy into it. When you put energy into something, what happens? It expands. The world expands for you, right? You're not expanding for anyone, it's for you. You chose that plan, you chose that definite chief aim, remember. And that's your soul inclination telling you, hey, follow this path. All right? So hopefully you get something about that. I'll talk to you guys soon. Think and Grow Rich. That's chapter 1, definite chief aim and desire. Okay? Speak to you guys soon.